They don't tell you this when you begin to heal, that the more you find yourself, the more you'll lose others. That the moment you stop pretending, people start disappearing, and that the light you fought so hard to find becomes too bright for those who are still living in the dark. No one prepares you for this part of healing. You think that becoming more whole will bring everyone closer, that if you finally grow, evolve, and rise, the world will celebrate with you. But Carl Jung knew the truth. He saw that true individuation, the process of becoming your authentic self, doesn't attract more people. It filters them. Healing doesn't make you more likable. It makes you more real. And real is uncomfortable for those still hiding behind their masks. So if people start to drift away when you begin to rise, don't panic, don't chase, and above all, don't shrink. Because maybe they were never connected to the real you, only to the version of you that stayed small enough to be accepted. This video is for the ones who are wondering, why am I losing people now that I'm finally becoming myself? Stay with me, because Carl Jung predicted exactly why this happens and what it truly means when the world around you starts to shift.
Healing isn't just about feeling better. It's about remembering who you were before the world told you who to be. And that kind of healing, it comes with a price. Carl Jung spoke of the shadow, the hidden parts of ourselves we were taught to suppress. When you begin to face your shadow and bring light to what was once buried, you stop playing the roles others expect from you. You stop laughing at what isn't funny. You stop agreeing just to avoid conflict. You stop betraying yourself just to be loved. And suddenly, people don't know how to respond to you anymore. Because the version of you they liked was the one who stayed silent, who made them feel comfortable, who played small so they could feel big. Now you're growing. Now you're setting boundaries. Now you're becoming honest, raw, untamed. And for those who haven't done that kind of work themselves, it's terrifying. Your presence becomes a mirror. And when someone isn't ready to see their reflection, they'll call you too much, different, or changed. But you haven't changed. You've returned to your truth. This is why Carl Jung believed that individuation, the path to wholeness, is not about gaining approval. It's about losing the need for it. And when you no longer live to be liked, you become free.
There comes a moment in your healing journey when you don't even need to say a word. People can feel it. Something in your energy shifts. You no longer carry the same desperation to be understood. You no longer bend yourself to fit into places that drained you. You walk differently. You speak with more clarity. You say no without guilt, and yes without fear. And that's when the unraveling begins. You might notice friends growing distant, family acting confused, people saying you've changed but unable to explain how. They're not reacting to your words, they're reacting to your frequency. Because when you start to value peace over performance, authenticity over acceptance, and alignment over approval, you stop attracting the kind of people who feed off your unhealed self. Carl Jung believed that the unconscious speaks through symbols, energy, and projection. So when your inner world evolves, your outer world must adjust. Some people will rise with you, others will run. But don't misinterpret their distance as your failure. It's not rejection, it's resonance. They're not leaving you, they're leaving the illusion they once connected with. You're not becoming less lovable, you're becoming less available to the people who only loved your mask.
Let's be honest. It hurts when people leave, even when we know deep down they were never truly for us. even when we know our healing is the reason they can't stay. Because we're human. We're wired to seek connection, to be seen, to belong. So when friends go silent, when family stops showing up, when lovers grow cold, it can feel like abandonment. It can feel like you're doing something wrong. But Carl Jung would remind you, you're not being abandoned. You're being realigned. What's leaving your life now isn't love. It's attachment. It's familiarity. It's the old version of you trying to hold on to what no longer fits. Healing doesn't just clear out pain from the past. It clears out relationships that were built on that pain. Some people were only meant to walk beside the version of you who didn't know their worth. And that's okay. This is the part no one talks about. The grief that comes with growth. The loneliness that follows expansion. The quiet mourning of a life that no longer reflects who you are becoming. But stay with it, because what feels like loss is often your first taste of freedom. You're not being punished. You're being protected. Your soul is creating space, not for more people, but for the right ones.
After the people drift away, after the noise fades, you're left with something that many find unbearable: silence. No texts, no invitations, no more pretending to be someone you're not, just to keep others close. And in that silence, doubt creeps in. Did I push them away? Maybe I went too far. Should I have just stayed quiet? But silence doesn't mean you did something wrong. It means you're finally hearing your own voice. Carl Jung wrote that loneliness does not come from having no people around you, but from being unable to communicate the things that matter most. And that's what healing reveals. Most of your old connections were built on surface-level versions of you. They liked the agreeable you, the always available you, the version that didn't ask for too much or speak too loudly. But now, you're speaking truth. You're asking deeper questions. You're showing up differently, more grounded, more aware. And those still hiding from their own truth can't meet you there. So yes, there will be a void, a pause, a stretch of time where you wonder if healing was worth the cost. But here's what no one tells you. This quiet space, it's not empty. It's sacred. It's where the right people start to find you. Not because you chased them, but because you stopped chasing the wrong ones.
People don't always leave because you did something wrong. Sometimes they leave because your healing shines a light on the parts of themselves they're not ready to face. Carl Jung taught that we all carry a shadow, the repressed, denied aspects of our personality that we hide not just from others, but from ourselves. When you begin to integrate your shadow, when you stop hiding your pain, your truth, your power, you become a mirror. And mirrors make people uncomfortable. Because it's easier to blame you than to confront their own reflection. It's easier to call you selfish than admit they were used to your self-abandonment. It's easier to say, "You've changed," than to ask, "Why haven't I?" So they run, not from you, but from the version of themselves they'd have to meet if they stayed. It's projection. Carl Jung believed that what we reject in ourselves, we often attack in others. So when your presence feels too intense, too honest, too liberated, it's not a flaw. It's a sign you're no longer playing small to make others feel safe. Let them go.
You are not here to carry someone else's fear of growth. You are not here to dim your light so others can avoid their shadows. Your healing isn't a threat. It's an invitation. But not everyone is ready to accept it, and that's not your responsibility.
There's a moment in your healing journey when you stop explaining yourself. You no longer waste energy trying to justify your boundaries, your silence, your growth. You stop needing people to get it. Because deep healing teaches you this truth. Understanding is a gift, not a requirement. Carl Jung understood that the path to individuation, the full expression of your true self, is often misunderstood by those who are still living through the expectations of others. They'll say you're cold because you stopped overgiving. They'll say you're distant because you no longer tolerate dysfunction. They'll say you've changed, and you'll smile because you have. And for the first time, it feels right. You don't need approval. You don't need applause. You just need peace. When you stop performing for connection, when you stop twisting yourself into shapes for validation, you discover something radical. You're still whole, even without their understanding, even without their praise, even without their presence. Carl Jung believed that real transformation doesn't come from being accepted by the world. It comes from accepting yourself so fully that rejection no longer feels like a loss. That's when you know you're free. Not because everyone stayed, but because you did.
After the storm of loss and silence comes something unexpected, a new kind of connection. Not more people, but the right people. Carl Jung taught that as you become more whole, your energy attracts what matches your true vibration. You stop chasing approval and start magnetizing authenticity. The friends who stick around aren't those who cling to your old version. They're the ones who celebrate your growth, who see your scars as stories of strength, who meet you in your truth, not your mask. It's no longer about quantity, it's about quality. And this is where healing shows its true power. It clears the clutter so the gems can shine through. You'll find people who don't just tolerate your healing, they support it. People who don't fear your light, they bask in it. Remember, Carl Jung believed that relationships are mirrors, reflecting our inner world back at us. When your inner world transforms, your outer world must follow. So don't rush to fill the empty spaces. Trust that the right souls are already on their way. Healing is a journey without a clear roadmap. You don't know who will stay, who will go, or when the right people will arrive. And that uncertainty can be terrifying. But Carl Jung taught us that growth requires patience. Patience with yourself, with others, and with the unfolding of life. You're dismantling old patterns, you're rewiring your soul, and that takes time. The emptiness you feel, it's not a void, it's a waiting room for your transformation. The people you lost, they served their purpose. They were part of your story. The ones who will come, they will arrive when you're ready to receive them. So don't rush, don't force connection, and don't shrink yourself to fill someone else's expectations. Instead, cultivate trust. Trust in your path. Trust in your healing. Trust that the universe is rearranging your life in perfect timing. Remember, the darkest nights often birth the brightest dawns.
You've been through the fire. You've lost people, faced silence, and confronted shadows. But here you stand, stronger, freer, more yourself than ever before.
Carl Jung predicted this journey would be hard because healing is not just about fixing wounds. It's about reclaiming your soul. And reclaiming your soul means choosing truth over comfort, choosing freedom over fear, choosing yourself over approval. The people who ran away, they were never meant to stay. They couldn't handle the real you. But that's okay, because the more you heal, the more you shine. And the more you shine, the more you invite the right souls into your life. You're no longer afraid to be seen. You no longer hide your light. You no longer settle for less than you deserve. This is the freedom Jung spoke of, the freedom that comes from self-acceptance and authentic living. So embrace the loss, embrace the silence, embrace the transformation, because this is your rebirth, and the world is waiting for the real you.